1899, an experimental project was launched in the London borough of Redbridge. 5 schools got together to change the emphasis on the way teaching happened. They called it Learning to Learn. This film tells the story of how one school transformed its learning and teaching. The project was the brainchild of Redbridge's special needs advisor, Melanie Foster.
I firmly believe, from my background in special needs and in working in mainstream schools as well, that if you get the education right for children with special educational needs, you actually get it right for everybody. And I wanted to start some kind of project with some of our schools that we really recognise the really good practice that exists within Redbridge schools and actually look to further develop a stimulating environment.
A letter went to all Redbridge schools. One of the first to take up the offer was Highlands Primary, where the head teacher is Maggie Buttress.
We were very interested in some of the things that it mentioned about exploring learning styles, accelerated learning, and research-based work that would take place in school. And all of those elements appeal to me because we've been working on developing a teaching and learning policy. And as we look back at that now, in fact, a lot of that was sympathetic to the principles of learning to learn.
At London University's Institute of Education, Professor Barbara McGilchrist had a long track record in school improvement research. She too joined the project.
The advisor and I would go around observing in classrooms. We used to meet with a focus group of children, and the children actually taught us a great deal. They, in many respects, led the project. We were asking the children and engaging the children in what best supports them as learners. Are there things that teachers could do that would enable them to learn better?
Highlands Primary School has nearly 700 pupils, from nursery to the end of Year 6. In all, more than 40 languages are spoken. The school has a high number of refugee children. When the project began, unauthorised absences were giving cause for concern, and the school's position in local and national tables was low. Today, it's reckoned to be in the top 25%, and attendance stands at an average of 95%. To know where they stood, the school needed data, and with such a multi-ability and multi-language profile, Highlands realised the numbers had to track each individual child.
Every child should be able to make progress over a year. We started to get into a very different dialogue to just having targets of attainment. The teachers started to say, well, there were certain causes of underachievement that we could facilitate in different ways. For example, some children have special needs, learning difficulties, some might have had long-term absence or illness. We could understand those kinds of underachievement, but where a child has not got any of those indicators, we wanted to start taking action on what were the causes. And we started to ask the teachers to analyse what in their opinion was hindering those children's progress.
In some cases, for example, it was attendance. The child actually just wasn't in school enough to be able to be making the progress that they needed. In other cases, it might have been related to a particular special need, and the fact that there were barriers to that child's learning that we then had to remove. For some children who were learning English as an additional language, there were particular enrichments that we needed to provide. And in some cases, there were gaps perhaps in school policy or schemes of work that we needed to plug as well.
We then were able to bring in the inclusion, what we call a team of people to work with groups of children who had patterns of underachievement and to look specifically at what the causes were. So, for example, it may be that some children was a lack of confidence, they had difficulty or were anxious when there were tests. It may have been a pattern of, in one year group, the amount of time that we'd spent on reading or on mathematics or a particular area. When we started to look at achievement, as a team, we could go in and work on picking up those areas of achievement.
The Highlands team realised they had to hear from each individual underachiever. Only then would they be able to bridge the gap. Their mantra became, "We can if."
And we got the children's perceptions of what they felt as to why they hadn't progressed. And we were quite open with the children, sharing the agenda with them. And then the class teachers and the members of the inclusion team wrote quite lengthy reports on the children. And we were aware it was a very cumbersome process that we were going through, but we were learning enormously from it. And by the second year, we were able to reduce the paperwork that went around it, because we could see quite clearly what the issues were that were emerging, and we were then able to set up the systems that provided for those needs to be met.
The teachers were learning from the children. The pupils themselves were at the heart of their own learning experience. The school was changing. A new whole school language focused on learning was developed. Also new was the idea of the big picture.
Well, the big picture is really about showing the terms learning, what lies ahead for the children, so that they understand what's in it for me, what am I going to be learning, how will it help me. So the teachers map out in a visually attractive, interactive, quite often way for the children the elements of learning that go across the curriculum. And it's shown in a joined up way so that the learning is connected and whole in the way that we experience it in real life.
And do you know what happened?
The big picture even begins in Highlands Nursery.
We've got a visual big picture for the children, which covers the 6 areas of their learning, but obviously in picture form because they're not at the stage where they can read what's written. So we just have pictures to show them and for parents to look at that show the sort of things that they'll be learning and how they'll be learning it.
Aleka, would you like to be fruit girl today? Up you get then. I like it when you sit with quiet voices waiting for your fruit.
I like it if you remember to say, oh, well done, Mary. I like it when you remember to say thank you to your friends who give you the fruit. We start learning to learn from the very beginning, yeah. So we get them to learn to cooperate and to take part as members of a group.
As part of the big picture, 2 new characters have emerged, Walt and Wilf. Walt stands for We Are Learning Too, and Wilf is the teacher's way of saying what I'm looking for.
So our Walt for this afternoon is we are learning to find out and record information about the history of Highlands Primary School. Okay? Our Wilf, what I'm looking for this afternoon. You're going to make a mind map of all of that information within your pride. And you're going to work not as a whole pride first, but you're going to work either individually or with a partner.
Prides are small groups in a year-long relationship, brought together after much careful observation. They develop their emotional intelligence through awareness and sensitivity towards each other, and through understanding of the roles each Pride member can play.
Scribe, materials monitor, organizer,
equipment manager,
spokesperson, cheerleader.
We do quite a lot of work in the prides at school and find it really useful because the children have more of a chance to work together, to cooperate. The children are being more autonomous with their learning. It also gives them a chance to learn from one another. They're not always rushing to ask me. They know that their prides are there so that they can help each other, so that they can ask the other people in their group.
We use these 3 signs. We have a put-up sign so we can use if someone's saying something good about someone.
fantastic maths work.
We have a back-off sign if someone's saying something horrible to another person.
Look at my work, it's better than yours. Your work is rubbish.
Back off. And we have a self-put down if someone's saying something horrible about their own work. I can't do this.
Sure you can, that's a self-put down. We all participate and have the right to pass.
We all have attentive listening.
We treat others and things with mutual respect. We appreciate others. With non-put-downs on.
We're going to do a bit of brain gym, make sure we've woken our brains up.
All the staff at Highlands became keen to know about research into how children learn best, the learning environment, and ways in which the brain can be exercised and become even more receptive to learning.
The other way.
Every classroom is carpeted, and everyone's school day is enlivened by brain gym, energisers, and brain breaks.
Fast drums.
For us, brain gym was a really important part of recognising that you actually need to re-energise yourself. It was an excellent way of getting children to refocus, to recharge their batteries. It was a lot of fun.
He is right.
And there were other ways to enhance learning, from simple things like water to more complicated mind exercises.
If children are kind of dehydrated, that's actually going to have a negative impact on their learning. Whereas if they have water and they're properly hydrated, that actually helps stimulate the brain and helps them engage with learning.
We introduced cups in the autumn term. It's excellent for concentration and really good for ambidexterity, eye-hand coordination. We've really noticed a difference with children's handwriting, their attention in class, and they love it. They absolutely, it's such good fun.
Music features strongly in the life of Highlands Primary. There's a school orchestra, a sitar group, and an African drumming band. And there's music too in every classroom, as a background to learning, as a means of altering the mood, or as a cue for tidying up.
Can you put the tidy up music on, please? 4, 3, 2, 1. And showing me that you're ready, please. Thank you, Ed Shara. Okay, fabulous.
There's a special programme for children newly arrived in Britain to help with inclusion and achievement. It's called the Tuesday Club. Some have never been to school, and most have very little English. Today, they're buying ingredients to bake cakes.
Sugar. Come on, let's get down here. Oh, what do you think this is? Sugar. Put your eggs on the top. Good boy. We're developing the children's English through out-of-school experiences. They tend to get survival English in school, and they don't have much experience out of school. This afternoon we've taken the children to the shops, and we've used money, and we've bought ingredients for a cake. And mainly that the children are getting confidence in reading. All of the children here have been able to follow that recipe without a lot of English, through photographs or through very simple sentences in sequence. Well done, that's a brilliant one. Oh, wow, look. I think the success of this group is when the children opt to go back into the classroom and they're beginning to cope with national curriculum at the level of their year groups.
I think everything that we stand for is about including our children. We celebrate the diversity that is within the school. We celebrate over 40 languages that are spoken by our pupils, and we use every opportunity that we can to celebrate the skills and the talents that our pupils have.
The thing I like about the Highlands is that the way that we all communicate, and it's as if the school is a whole community. All the time that I've been here, it's just got better and better, and I've really enjoyed being here. And now that I'm going to leave in July, I'm going to miss it.